I mentioned, the most ideal fixation, we want to fix the muscle as quick as possible, as low temperature as possible, right? So if you buried into the, gum tragacanth, muscle will not be fixed very well, right? Maybe you need to translate.
Cái bột này là cái bột dùng để cố định ra gan cơn ha. Thì cái này nó hơi nhiều quá. Thì hơi nhiều quá khi mình nhúng nó sẽ hấp thụ bốc nhiệt, cho nên cái mục đích của mình là làm cho.
Can I have gum? Okay.
Làm cho nó lạnh thật nhanh, nó sẽ không đạt.
This is tragacanth. Okay. Oops, sorry. Water? This is water? No, this is water. Okay. Maybe I put too much, but sorry. Oops. So this is enough, okay? And this is too much, okay? Because we want to fix the muscle, well, I mean, the best way to fix the muscle is we don't do anything, just naked muscle into the, the liquid, into the isopentane. This is the best way. But we have to use it, right? So that's why we need to use tragacanth gum. But we want to use we want to keep the muscle as naked as possible. That is the most important part. So this should be minimized, okay? But if this is too little, of course it will fall down, right? So, okay, only enough amount. So I don't know which muscle is the best, but unfortunately, I cannot see the muscle very well. Maybe this direction. So, so this is like this is even, this looks big, but it's still smaller than pencil size, right? But anyway, if you pinch here, you make artifacts, okay? Already you made artifacts. So you have to put this side into the tragacanth gum, like this. You understand? So, and this part should be used for the fixation. Yeah, something like this, okay? So then you have a lot of naked part, right? So this is important. We want naked muscle, right? This one, we don't want this one, but unless you have this one, you cannot make section. That's why you have to use cork. But it should be minimized. Gum tragacanth should be minimized like this. Okay. All right. Then can I fix this? Where is the liquid nitrogen?
This one is thiopentane.
What is this? This is isopentane, right?
Yeah, isopentane.
Where is the liquid nitrogen?
Liquid nitrogen đâu? Các bạn nào lấy giùm cẩn thận nha, Vito này là nó gây bỏng nha, cho nên là tránh được để bạn làm luôn, quan sát đứng xa. Có video chưa?
And you also need dry ice. Before starting fixation, you have to have dry ice because after fixation, you have to put it onto the freezer. Onto the dry ice.
Có đá khô không vậy? Không có. They don't prepare dry ice.
Oh, that's not good at all. You must have dry ice beforehand, because after fixation, where should we put it? Right? We need dry ice always. Yes.
Maybe because they think the fixing machine is just need.
Yeah, but
That's why they
yeah, but actually it shouldn't do that. You should always have dry ice just next to it, because even if you do it here, you will move the sample in the air like this distance, right? We should minimize it once freeze it. We always put the dry ice just next to it. After fixation, we immediately put it onto the dry ice. While you are doing this will sample will be defrosted. You should really minimize it. So before this, you must have dry ice. You don't have dry ice? They don't have. And that can be the cause of artifacts, actually.
Yeah.
You think that, this is very short, it's okay. But actually, while you are doing this, it will be defrosted. Because especially in Vietnam, it's hot, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you really must have dry ice. Otherwise, you shouldn't fix any sample. Yeah. Of course, I can show you how to do it. It's very easy, but it's not the right way, right? Because unless you have dry ice.
You want to do it?
Well, of course I can do it, but you don't have dry ice now? No, and it's not good at all. Yeah, so in the beginning you have a lot of smoke. Actually, this is also not so good. You feel almost half, but you can't tell where's the surface of the liquid nitrogen, right? It's very difficult, right? So I think you should put more. Then you can put this one. You see, you can't see whether this is in the liquid nitrogen or not. It's very difficult. Yeah. It's very dangerous. So I think you can feel the liquid nitrogen more up to this level, 80%, yes. Okay, maybe okay. And put it here. Okay. Now almost like 80%. I can somehow see the surface, right? Then still difficult, but at least better than before, right? Then, so in the beginning there is a lot of smoke, but if the temperature goes down, then smoke will disappear. So we should wait like 1 minute. So if it reaches the freezing point, you will start seeing the ice crystals. The freezing temperature of water is 0 degree, right? At 0 degree, you have mixture of ice and water. That is 0 degree. So this is also the case for isopentane. At minus 160 degrees, you see a solid part and liquid part at the same time. So partly frosted. Firstly frozen. Okay. I think now no more smoke from inside, right? Then can you see the ice white one at the bottom, right? You can see the white one at the bottom, right? White one at the bottom. So this is ice crystal of isopentane. So it means that this is a mixture of ice and water, right? So minus 100 degrees for sure. It already reached. Okay, then I will fix. Can you hold this for a while? Yes. Okay. You have to be careful not to put in too much. Then I will fix it, but this muscle is a little bit soft. So it's not straight, right? So at the final moment, you should make it straight, like this. Then, okay, immediately. And you have to shake like this for 1 minute. You have to count 60 in your heart. Actually, it doesn't have to be precisely 1 minute. Actually, probably it is already frozen like 20 seconds, but it can be longer, but it shouldn't be shorter. So you can count like 60, then that's enough, I think. Can be 70 seconds, can be 50 seconds, it doesn't matter. So unless you shake, actually the isopentane will be immediately warmed, right? Because the temperature of sample is like 20 degrees, maybe even higher. Then minus 160, it means that the difference is 180 degrees difference, right? This is a big difference. So, can you imagine the temperature 180 degrees higher than you? Very, very hot, right? So something very, very hot will come into isopentane. So think that you are isopentane. So something really hot will come in, right? So immediately warm, right? So even if you don't shake it, so the sample will be surrounded by warmed isopentane. So it's going to be not going to be frozen very well. That's why you have to shake it like this. I think this is already more than 1 minute. Then, so this is not the right way, but think that this is dry ice. So immediately put like this. Okay, do this. And then many people, of course, especially when you are first time, you are not sure whether it is well fixed, right? So what many people do is like this. Is it okay? So while you are doing this, this will be defrosted. So quickly, dry ice. So, while moving in the air, it will be, defrosted even a little bit, right? So this will be really minimized, always. So when you bring the sample to somewhere, of course you have to have dry ice and put onto the dry ice and carry it somewhere. And if you move it, immediately like this. Really, really like this. Otherwise, it will be defrosted, especially in Vietnam. It's hot, right? So, okay, that's it. Then this will be, unfortunately, this is a little bit not perfectly straight, but still, I think this is okay. Yeah, a little bit like this, but it should be more like this, but okay. Okay, that's it. This laboratory, when you have received muscle sample, when you do muscle biopsy, where is Dr. C? Oh yeah, when you do muscle biopsy here, so the non-fixed muscle will arrive here, right?
Yeah.
And they will fix like this,
Yeah.
and immediately do this
Yes.
without dry eyes. Then after that, what will they do without dry eyes?
Ủa, mình cắt xong rồi nếu mà ok đó, nếu mà không có đá khô. They put into the nitrogen.
Liquid nitrogen. I
Get
see.
up to the
Right.
We have a deep refrigeration.
Right. And the deep freezer, how do you put it? How do you put the sample?
Mình có cái lọ đúng không? We have a small.
I see. Is this airtight? Okay. So this has to be cooled down first before you put the sample. Yeah. Right. Okay. All right. Then okay. All right.
You want to cut it?
No, it's okay. They can do it. Yeah. I'm not so familiar with this machine.
But this knife not sharp enough.
Right.
We think so.
Right.
That's why we have a folded
Right.
muscle tip
Yeah.
folded.
Yeah. Also
You
technique.
just read the inside layer.
Yeah. So knife is really the sharpness of the knife is very important. We actually asked an expert who is specialized in sharpening the Japanese sword. You know, Japanese sword, the purpose of Japanese sword is exactly the same, right? To cut human meat. So it's perfect. Is this beef or
Thịt bò hả? It's beef.
beef? Okay.
Daily practice is
Right.
morning,
Okay. Good.
and we're gonna take a look at this.
Right.
Dạ. Sau cắt rồi giờ tới nhuộm rồi đi theo
Thế là mình không có cần phải làm quấy nến các thứ gì hả?
dạ.
Hay kiểu đấy là kiểu khác.
Dạ anh nói đầu tiên hỏi em là bác sĩ nào dạ thì bác
This is very small. I need larger one. This is small. I need large. There was large here.
To hơn.
Typically developed for frozen muscle, not for formalin fixed muscle. If you use formalin fixed muscle, protein will be denatured. So enzymatic activity will be all lost. Okay? For example, NADH, we actually evaluate enzymatic activity. SDH is also enzyme. COX also enzyme. Acid phosphatase enzyme. Myosin ATPase enzyme. Everything enzyme. Enzymes are all enzymes are protein, right? So if you use formalin fixation, you kill all the activity. So of course, no staining at all, right? That's why this has historical reason because there are many metabolic disorders, right? So in muscle disease, we need the enzyme staining. Yes, that's why you need freeze fixation. And formalin fixation, of course, you can evaluate the structure, like muscle fiber size, rubber, lymphocyte infiltration, but that's it. That's it. But no enzyme activity at all. For example, ATPase, it is very important to evaluate fiber type, right? You can't do it. It's very difficult. Yes.
So how about the protein for the marker of the muscular dystrophy with the formalin fixation? Is that okay?
Well, actually, we don't have much experience because we use only frozen muscle. Of course, so the immunohistochemistry, if your protein is there, theoretically you can detect it by immunohistochemistry. But you have to be careful. But by using formalin, this can be denatured. So the protein structure may be a little bit changed. Then it's going to be difficult sometimes. Yes. And sometimes you need deformalization to do immunohistochemistry. This is more difficult. The frozen muscle is usually much easier. And so if you really want to use formalin fixed muscle, you have to optimize all the immunohistochemical conditions for that. We don't know how to, but we don't know the condition. But we know the condition for frozen muscle. Yes. So I can answer your question. Maybe dystrophin works, may not. We are not sure. Yes. But what I want to emphasize is that, I asked all the, the centers in various countries like France, UK, United States, Germany, almost all the places, they do only freeze fixation. They don't use formalin at all. Only few laboratories which was controlled by pathologists, they still want to do formalin fixation for historical reason. But always only a minor part, and they just preserve it. They don't use it actually for the diagnosis. They know that it's not useful for the diagnosis. For the diagnosis, frozen muscle is the most important. Okay, then I will do it again. So this is another meat. See? Look at this one. This is a big meat, right? Yes, big meat. If this is muscle biopsy sample, very big. But if you go to, actually, Dr. C kindly took me to a steak restaurant last night. If you go to steak restaurant, and in the dish, if you see only one of this, how do you feel? Very small, right? Right. So you can feel that how small our muscle pathology sample is. It's really small, right? We have a lot of muscle here and there, but what we are looking at is really small. That is why you have to carefully choose the right muscle to biopsy. Otherwise, it's not okay to any muscle, and not like that. You have to carefully choose the right muscle. Otherwise, you will miss the diagnosis. Because we see really look at very small range, area. Okay.
You want to talk about
Yes.
suture you do when you do biopsy in Japan?
Suture. Why suture? What do you mean?
What is suture to make sure that we cut cross section?
Sorry, I don't understand what you mean.
When you do biopsy, you take the muscle out with a blue suture.
I think the direction is a little bit difficult to know. Maybe this direction, probably. Like this.
chưa xem cái vòng lúc nãy giờ có thể xem. Anh chị nào lúc nãy chưa xem cái tấm ảnh lúc nãy thì làm thì giờ có thể xem.
Okay, so those who are not here for the first time, I will tell you again. So actually we want to fix the muscle naked without doing anything. Naked muscle directly into the isopended disc. But still you need this one, right, to make sections, right? So it means that you should use the smallest amount, you should minimize the amount of gum trigger counts as much as possible. But if you, of course, if you use too little amount, muscle sample will fall down. So of course you need some amount, but shouldn't be like this. This is too much, okay?
Mọi người dịch sang bên này thì
Yeah, so like this. Then maybe this one. This is relatively big for muscle biopsy, but okay, I'll make it stand like this. Okay, it's a little bit soft, so it's not so straight, right? But before fixing, I think before freezing, you should make it straight, okay? All right, then this is isopentane, right? Isopentane, okay. So prepare the, okay, this is the liquid nitrogen. If you want, you can keep this one, isopentane, within the refrigerator. Because anyway, you want to cool down, right? Refrigerator is usually 4 degrees. Here, you have 30 degrees or something, right? So starting from 4 degrees will be faster. But in some laboratory, actually, they put this one into the freezer, not the refrigerator. Freezer is minus 20 degrees. But if you want to put them into the freezer, you should transfer isopentane into other bottle because glass bottle cannot, will be broken in the freezer. Yes. Okay. So this is liquid nitrogen. So, okay, I will make it the big one. If you put it, you see a lot of smoke. Then sometimes it's very difficult to see the surface of the liquid nitrogen. So you have to be careful. If you put it too much, large amount of liquid nitrogen come in here. So then it will be frozen. It will be like an ice. It's going to be messy. So you have to be very careful like this. And after a while, after some while, the smoke will stop coming. Okay, now smoke stopped coming. So I think soon we will start seeing the ice crystal frozen iso painting soon at the bottom of the beaker. So if you see the ice crystal, it's ready. Yeah, I think I already see some. Can you see the small ice at the bottom? At the bottom, something white you can see, right? This is the ice of the iso painting. You can see something white at the bottom, right? Yes, you can see something white at the bottom, right? No, this means this is the mixture of solid and liquid. So for water, mixture of water and ice means 0 degrees, right? You learn it, I think, at elementary school or something. So this is the same theory. So if you see mixture of liquid and solid, it means it reaches freezing point, minus 100 degrees, right? So it's ready, okay? Can you hold this for a while, okay? Yeah, like this, it's safe, you can just, yes, here. Okay, now I have to make sure that this is straight. So, like this, okay? Actually, you can also do this. So by gravity, it will be straight, right? Right. But you have to be careful. If you can use this method, but with this method, you have to be careful if you don't do this. If you do this, you cannot see it very well. You put...
purple.
Yes. So this is what I was talking. He put it too deep, right? So this is like ice. You cannot use it, unfortunately. Yeah, so you have to wait. But anyway, so you put it, this may reach the bottom, then this will be deformed, right? So to prevent it, I do it like this. Then you can reach, you don't have any problem, right? Okay. But anyway, you have to wait for a while.
I put into this.
So this is really solid. Not, this is lower than 100 minus 60, right? Yeah. Yeah, it's okay. Can I use it? Also, we actually reuse iso painting. We don't throw this away. We just return it. Okay, now started defrosting. So you still have ice, right? Like this. So it means that this is minus 160, right? So you can do it now. So actually, you don't have to put it inside. This is because already 160, right? So I will do this again. Oops. Okay, then, oops. So I always tell people to count 60. Okay. So 1 minute, but it doesn't have to be precise. Actually, they say that even after 20 seconds, it's already frozen. But it's okay to do it longer. But it's not okay to make it shorter. Okay? So it's safer to do 60, right? 60 seconds, 70 seconds, 90 seconds, that's okay. Even 50 seconds, 40 seconds, okay. So you can just count 60, that's fine. Okay, so already 60, then open it. Okay. So when you transfer the sample, so I actually recommend using dry ice, okay? So you should immediately put it onto the dry ice, but here immediately, right? While you are moving like this, samples of started frozen. Actually, it looks okay. You know, it looks okay, like ice cream. It looks okay, right? But actually already started melting. So I think you should do it immediately. This is very important. Yes. So, and some beginners always want to see whether it is okay, right? So they often look at it like this. This is very dangerous, already defrosted. So and then you can check it. Yeah. So like this. Okay. That's it. Any questions? No? Very easy. But very easy, but well, if you change it, modify it a little bit, then you may get artifacts. So there are points, like you have to do it immediately, otherwise you will get artifacts.
Normally you have a technician to do
No, we do it by ourselves. Yes. So we do after, so in Japan, neurologists are supposed to be able to muscle biopsy and fixation. Yes, for board certified, neurologists. I am the member of the committee, so I always, the test for the board examination. I always ask questions about how to do muscle biopsy, how to fix the muscle. If they are not, pass, I will kick them out.
That's the reason why the quality is very high, right?
Yeah. So because, we receive muscle samples from all over Japan. I don't think we can receive, fresh ones, right? So they should be able to fix it. Then we receive frozen muscle. Yes.
So it should be dry at the first. They must be dry from the first fixation stage.
Yeah, they have to be able to do this. Yeah, right. They are okay because we do like this type of conference every summer 2 times. So we more than I don't know exactly, more than 800 neurologists and pediatricians already learned how, this one, this type of school. So I think, and they were scattered around all over Japan, and they send samples to us. And we also have video, so I think they should be able to do it.
So the muscle disease in Japan is not taken care by some rheumatologist or something.
Of course, myositis patients are seen by rheumatologists and dermatologists and neurologists as well. Yeah. And they have different ideas, of course. Everywhere.
Anyway, the rheumatologists also need to admit some.
Now they are, more and more rheumatologists and dermatologists send muscle to me. Yeah.
It should be, right?
Yeah.
I'm the rheumatologist.
Okay.
Yeah, the first time I joined this.
Yeah, very good.
I feel that's really useful.
Yeah, very good, yes.
Yeah.
Right. So in the beginning, like 10 years ago, rheumatologists are a little bit skeptical about muscle biopsy, but now they started sending a lot of muscle. But that's good. We have very good collaboration.
Yes, and we need.
Yes, of course.
That's resource,
Of course.
Yeah, that's information.
Yes.
Anyway, we still have to take care of that kind of patient.
Yes.
Yeah, and if we don't have enough information, it's not good for the treatment and
Sure. they are actually frozen and freezing and defrosting artifacts. But this is not because of you. Otherwise, in other area, actually, oops, where is it? Yeah, for example, in this area, muscle fibers are well fixed, yes? So I think it's okay. I think your technique is okay, at least for this muscle, yes. Maybe a little bit stained. The membrane, muscle fiber membrane, is highlighted, looks like. But I'm sorry, I'm not very sure whether this is really positive finding or artifact. So it depends on the laboratory again. Yes. Okay, good.
Okay.
That's all?
That's all.
All right,
We have
very good.
a cake
Okay,
as
all right, all right. So that's all.
Yes.
Okay.
You want to show your case?
Yeah, okay, I can show your case. I can show our cases. Whatever.
Number one.
Number one, okay.
Bây giờ thầy sẽ trình những cái ca của thầy này.
Yeah, I don't see any artifacts here. This is very good. Yeah, this muscle is very good. Of course, this part, a little bit disorganized, but I think all other areas are good. And sometimes you see this type of, oops. Yeah, small holes, right? This is, why? So bright. I don't know. Yes, okay. Yeah, in this part you see small holes. This is ice crystals. Yes. Yeah, I actually don't know, but only this area, so I don't know. All other areas, okay, this is very good. Yeah, very good. So I think you can ignore that part. This is very good. Well fixed. See a lot of holes.
Yes, exactly.
But this is not because of them, because of the market. This is not human muscle. If you can volunteer, we can.
Biopsy or any obstacle you have where you work, any question?
So our plan is for the whole of Vietnam, biopsies will be sent to this university.
You asked me,
No, we should recommend to the association.
Yeah, of course, that is a good idea, but I'm not sure about politics here. That is always actually, I'm very honest, but politics is always the problem. Other university, they also have pride. Well, should we send muscle to other university? Some people say things like this. Yes, yes. Yeah, of course. So you are doing very good, and the muscle, the fixation is very good, and staining is so far good. So I think you should be the one who should take care of muscle biopsy samples in the whole Vietnam. Yes, I think so. But the political issue is another story. So I think you have to solve these issues. Yes.
hai thầy có thể là tất cả những cái bệnh cơ được gửi về trung tâm của ở đây để làm sinh thiết. That's a good idea, but
So
we are
yeah.
clinical pathologists. We start with the clinical. When the patient they send the sample approach, I don't have the chance to examination. I don't have a chance to do EMG, check CDK, antibody.
But that's okay. That's like.
Yeah, so that's why we need communication with physicians. So when they send samples, nowadays we ask them to send us DICOM data, imaging data. And also, pathologists usually send reports saying that they just describe, but they never say that you should check antibody, you should do this, you should do EMG. Pathologists usually don't say something like this. But we say this. We always beyond the line, you go beyond the line and tell the physician to do this, and give us feedback. I think we need communication like this. This is very important, yes. And in Japan, the population size is 120 million. Then I just heard that Vietnam is like 100, right? So in our lab, alone actually takes care of almost like 80% of the muscle biopsy in the whole Japan. So I'm sure you can do it here. You can take care of the whole Vietnam like this, right? From the nose to the south, you can do it. I mean, you can do it, but I'm sure. But
From the north, it has to come by ship.
yeah. So I think you have to be able to freeze the muscle by yourself. I mean, the clinicians have to do it, because you have long, like country like this. Well, in Japan as well, Hokkaido to Okinawa is very far, right? So that's why actually we teach all the physicians to how to fix and how to do muscle biopsy. This is part of the board certification of neurology. Otherwise, they will pass. They will not pass the exam. Yes.
So the other recommendation is that, like I think your laboratory, they have this form that you have to put in all the data. Imaging data,
Yes,
clinical data.
right. They're just like we do.
Otherwise, they will not give you information, and then pathology report will not.
Yeah, well, where I supervise many laboratories, for example, Srila Hospital in Thailand, it's one of my former postdocs. She's a pathologist, pure pathologist, background pathologist. So she provides service as a pathologist. But all the information she received is just like myositis.
Yes.
That's it. Myopathy, muscular dystrophy. That's it. Even no CK level. So it's not good at all. I think you should ask, detailed clinical information and all the laboratory data. And we need communication. Yes.
You should insist they fill out the form.
Right.
Otherwise, you don't take the specimen.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Well, it takes some time, but I think you need it. Yes,
You have
exactly.
to, in a positive way, because
Right.
otherwise it will get.
Yeah, very good, very good.
And this will be a good database for research.
Right.
The other thing is billing is still not subsidized here, right? Patients pay for the biopsy.
Yes.
That becomes tricky.
Yeah, in Japan as well, they pay for biopsy, but they don't pay to us at all. Yes.
The insurance pays.
No. We are really free labor. We don't get any money, so we just provide service. And then how can we maintain our service? Actually, we obtain all the grants, research grants, and the research grants covered it. Yes, so we have to work for obtaining grants, and we have to work to provide service.
But the patients in the hospitals, they are billed for the biopsy.
Yes, they do. So
But the
yeah, they
hospital
are. Yeah, and the hospital take money, but they don't give us any money. Yes.
Dr. Nguyen, I also have a plan to make a small workshop, like a cafe area, that we can discuss every single case like around the city. Because I think they should have a chance to look at the microscope to discuss.
Okay.
But maybe after Asana we can do it.
Yeah. So I think you have a session like that, right? Every month or so you have a Zoom.
Right, yes. We have muscle pathology conference every month. Well, in summertime we don't do it. So in August we don't do it. But otherwise we do have a muscle pathology conference every month. Like usually third week, Friday third week, but sometimes change. But anyways, we do it. And sometimes Dr. C, usually you come online, and sometimes you present cases. Myanmar doctors, yeah, but because of the situation, probably they don't come so often nowadays. Yes, and Egyptian also comes, and Indonesian, Malaysian, yes, many people come, and also from Thailand as well. Yeah, so if you are interested, you are all welcome. Yes.
Maybe you could send it to me. I'll publicize it.
Okay, sure.
Dạ, mọi người có câu hỏi gì không ạ?
You have a question, right? You have a question about staining. Yes, I already asked you about the IAC staining.
Yeah, for formalin fixed
yeah,
tissue.
for
Right.
formalin fixation.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
far we don't have
Oops.
that kind of the frozen fixation, but
Right.
And I'm now
Yeah.
through
So
some research-
I should tell, I must tell you that formalin fixed paraffin embedded tissue, FFPE, is not useful at all. Useless, I have to tell you. Really useless. So I'm involved in World Muscle Society. I asked all the muscle pathologists in the world and the major laboratories. Nobody does formalin fixation. Nobody. Only few who has pathology backgrounds, historical reason they do it, but they actually don't evaluate at all because it's useless. Well, for example, for the diagnosis of mitochondrial disease, you need SDH and COX. But if you do formalin fixation, no enzymatic activity at all because proteins are all denatured, right? So you can't do it. No ATPase, no SDH, no NADH, nothing. Not useful at all. And also, for immunohistochemistry, some antibodies may work, but others may not work. Because by formalin, you are really fixed, but protein again are denatured. Proteins are denatured. So the antigen epitope may be a little bit changed. Then how can it be recognized, right? Frozen is the best way, yes, right. So for formalin fixed muscle, sometimes I will ask, even from the Japanese pathologists, they ask me, we have only formalin fixed muscle, how can we perform immunohistochemistry for blah, 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 blah. I don't know because I have never done it. And for condition, you have to establish the condition by yourself. Yeah, some antibodies work, so you have to check the literature. But anyway, the condition may not be the same as frozen muscle. Yes. So please do fix the muscle by freeze fixation. Yes. Yes. Don't do formalin fixation. It's really useless. Yeah, it's really useless.
One more question.
Yes.
So, we still have a problem because we are doing research about that and try to publish an article about the limb-girdle muscular dystrophy. But we still have a problem because the reviewer asked for the ISC staining.
Right.
To
Using the formalin fixed muscle.
But we just have that. So
Yeah, that's
still
almost impossible. Yeah, so it's a very difficult request, yes, because, for example, dysferlin, it may work, it may not work, nobody knows actually, yes. I think the all parts of the world, I think we use frozen muscle for all the muscular dystrophy immunohistochemistry. So, well, it may work, but you have to establish all the conditions, dilution, and maybe you need like a deformalinized, some procedure, something like that. So it's really impossible, I think, practically.
we just have some patient. Could you?
I think you should tell the reviewer, I'm sorry, we cannot. I think.
Okay, you can say that because we are only developing the services now.
Yeah, you're right.
So you're trying your best.
Right.
I mean, it's not like you.
Yeah.
you
Unfortunately,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
we just started, freeze fixation, yeah, something like that. Yeah, you can say
try.
that. I don't think it's productive to do, to work on formalin fixed tissue.
You can ask Dr. Yu tomorrow. Actually, today we have so many next year, Richard will be
Is it because they are going straight to genetics or genomics?
We go straight to genetic and they
Scale.
what we find genetics and clinical physics.
I think even in Singapore also the pediatricians do less biopsy than adults. We do more. And I think a lot of them go to genetics straight, but like you said, after that sometimes they send the biopsy to us and say
Right.
they're not certain.
Yeah, you are right. I think also in Japan, I think the number of biopsies is decreasing, especially in pediatric field. I think they hesitate to do, like invasive procedure in a small kid. Yeah.
Actually, culturally, a lot of geneticists are pediatric trained.
Right.
So I think culturally they are more
I see.
inclined to,
Right.
and they don't do much electrophysiology also.
Right.
Well, adult physicians we are more.
But don't trust, genetics that much. Of course, it's powerful tool, but it's not really, like, perfect solution. Yes. So well, sometimes it takes time to get results from the whole exome sequencing or whatever. While you are waiting, actually the treatable condition, that's treatment may be delayed. I think you should do muscle biopsy as soon as possible. That's what I think. Yes. Okay. Good. Great.
Dạ, em cảm ơn mọi người. Thật ra là cái buổi ngày hôm nay thì em cũng xin thú thật mọi người là ban đầu bọn em tính làm là cho một cái nhóm nhỏ thôi, khoảng 20 các anh chị em nghe, những anh chị em nào sau này sẽ triển khai. Như mọi người thấy đó, cái bài buổi sáng nay, cái bài sáng nay thầy Nishino nói cũng như buổi chiều nay, thật ra nếu như mà không có một cái kiến thức trước đó hoặc là không có sự đam mê thì nghe nó cũng khá là buồn buồn, đúng không ạ? Và em nghĩ là nó khó. Em chỉ tiếp nối thêm những cái câu chuyện mà thầy Uma hay thầy Nishino có chia sẻ thôi. Thì thật ra mục tiêu cuối cùng của bọn em làm cái workshop này đầu tiên chỉ với tính chất là lan tỏa trước, chứ còn thật ra trong vòng có 1 ngày rưỡi để mà hiểu mà làm được cái này thì em nghĩ nó cũng hơi khó. Cái câu chuyện thứ hai là như thầy Uma có nói đó, có liệu chăng chúng ta nên đi theo cái mô hình giống như là nước Nhật của thầy Nishino hay không? Như một cái đất nước Nhật cả hơn 120 triệu dân nhưng mà chỉ có một cái trung tâm làm sinh thiết thôi. Tức là tất cả nước họ đều phải gửi cái mẫu về cái nơi của thầy. Thì thật ra có nhất thiết là chúng ta phải phát triển quá nhiều trung tâm như vậy hay không? Hay là chúng ta chỉ có phát triển một cái trung tâm chuẩn và các cái nơi khác thì họ chuyển mẫu tới. Cái điểm thứ ba nữa khó khăn như là anh Sĩ có chia sẻ, đôi khi như vậy nhưng mà nó bị mix về cái thông tin lâm sàng. Nhưng mà thầy Nishino có nói là do vậy thì phải kết nối nhiều hơn, thông tin nhiều hơn. Và nó có một cái nữa là bên Nhật như thầy có chia sẻ là ngay trong cái quá trình đào tạo một bác sĩ thần kinh ấy, thì cái câu chuyện bác sĩ thần kinh đó phải biết, phải hiểu về sinh thiết cơ, phải làm được, phải sinh thiết được, phải cố định mẫu và bắt buộc là phải qua được cái học phần đó thì mới được chứng nhận là bác sĩ thần kinh. Thì nó cũng đã nói lên cái câu chuyện là cái vấn đề đào tạo của họ thì cũng đã khác mình rồi. Tuy nhiên thì hay là những cái câu chuyện như là hai thầy có nói là liệu chăng là cái chi phí này có được bảo hiểm chi trả hay không, hay là bệnh nhân phải chi trả toàn bộ tất cả những vấn đề đó. Tuy nhiên thì chúng em cũng hay rằng là trong ngày hôm nay có một số bác thì đã có thể nghe nhiều rồi, còn có một số bác thì có thể lần đầu nghe. Thì hy vọng là ít nhất là các bác sẽ có một cái khái niệm và đôi khi có thể thay đổi được cái cách thức mà mình làm, mình hiểu về bệnh cơ và sinh thiết cơ. Thì cái buổi ngày hôm nay thì chúng ta, em xin tóm tắt lại là buổi sáng thì chúng ta cái phần lý thuyết thì có cái bài tiếp cận lâm sàng của thầy Uma, có cái bài rất là căn bản về sinh thiết cơ của thầy Nishino và sau đó là các cái bước tập sinh thiết của thầy. Buổi chiều nay thì chúng ta có 2 phần. Phần thứ nhất thì như mọi người thấy bọn em có chia thành 2 tốt để chúng ta biết được một cái quy trình sinh thiết như thế nào, cố định mẫu ra sao, vân vân. Và cái phần thứ hai này là cái phần mà thầy Nishino có đọc các cái làm mà thầy mang tới. Thì đó là tóm tắt của buổi học ngày hôm nay. Cái ngày mai chúng ta sẽ bắt đầu từ 8 giờ và buổi ngày mai thì chúng ta có đi 3 ca lâm sàng. Thì 3 ca này là 3 ca chúng em chuẩn bị sẵn và cái cách thức đi là như thế này, sẽ đi từ lâm sàng và sau đó với chuyển qua sinh thiết để chúng ta có được một cái biết được một cái sự tương quan giữa cái câu chuyện lâm sàng của một bệnh cơ và cái bản sinh thiết như thế nào. Thì đó là cái cấu trúc của buổi sáng mai. Một cái việc nữa em cũng nhắc mọi người là các anh chị mà có đăng ký xin đi, các các anh chị nhớ scan cái QR code và trả lời cái post test, thì lúc đó thì chúng ta mới được cấp cái CME. Và hy vọng là trong thời gian tới thì chúng em như anh sĩ nói thì trước mắt ở trong khu vực phía Nam Thành phố Hồ Chí Minh thì bọn em tính tổ chức cái câu lạc bộ bệnh thần kinh cơ. Cách thức thì đang suy nghĩ để làm, nhưng mà hy vọng là có thể kết nối với nhiều anh chị em ở các cái vùng miền khác nhau. Và cuối cùng thì em cũng xin nhắc lại kết thúc của ngày mai thì rất là mong nhóm Bạch Mai, nhóm Huế và nhóm Cần Thơ sau khi kết thúc khóa học thì gặp em, thì giống như cái phần em đã trao đổi với ba nhóm với các anh chị ở các cái điểm đó. Thì em xin cảm ơn và xin ngồi nghỉ. Chúng ta hẹn vào 8 giờ sáng mai.
I gave you the brief clinical summary, right? I think you may want to see. I don't remember. Yes, I see. I have it in my PC, but yeah. Okay. Yeah, I see and everything. So.
How many cases?
I brought 8 cases. Perivascular atrophic fibers are darkly stained on NADH, right? Okay.
Những cái sợi cơ bị teo quanh bó thì nó đậm màu trên cái nhuộm NADH.
This is cytochrome oxidase. Look at this one. All
This is
cytochrome oxidase, COX.
COX.
Yes.
COX we look for mitochondria.
Mitochondria.
Cái nhuộm COX hồi sáng này thầy nói là bị bệnh ti thể.
You see, normally in COX, because COX is a mitochondrial enzyme, you see dot-like pattern reflecting mitochondria. But we don't see any dot-like staining. It's just diffusely decreased. For this reason, many people actually initially, long time ago, thought that this is an ischemic phenomenon. So dermatomyositis may be because of vasculitis. That's what they previous generations thought, but it was maybe wrong. Yes. But anyway, often COX activity is diffusely decreased in perivascular area.
Cái nhuộm COX này thì mình nhuộm ti thể thì mình biết là ti thể nó sẽ xuất hiện trên những cái phát hiện là những cái chấm nhỏ, chấm. Tuy nhiên trong trường hợp này là mình thấy nó diffuse và nó trải đều là nó lan ra chứ nó không thành cái chấm. Thì ông nói là có thể đây là cái tiếp về cái hiện tượng hoại tử do cái vi khuẩn. Thành ra là những cái
HLA-ABC.
không thành chấm.
ABC, no, HLA-ABC. So I will show you the immunohistochemistry. This is the ABC.
Và bây giờ là tới những cái phép nhiễm hóa mô miễn dịch.
See,
class 1.
Yeah, class 1. So at the periphery of the fascicles, they are darkly stained. So ABC is expressed especially in perivascular atrophy area.
Chúng ta thấy là cái hiện tượng bắt thuốc nó cũng là
This is
thế những cái
class
sợi cơ ở phía
DR.
bên ngoài của cái bao cơ.
Okay.
Perifascicle.
Yes. But this is DR. DR is negative. Right? Only the perimygium is stained, but no muscle fiber is stained. So DR is often negative in many myositis. DR, HLDR, MHC class 2. And finally, I didn't give you the lecture for myositis, but MXA is a very important marker recently developed. This is a marker of type 1 interferon. Okay, so then I will show you.
Thầy cũng không có một cái bài riêng về nói về viêm cơ, nhưng mà bài này thì ngoài cái phim asthma nó sẽ có, nhưng mà cái riêng về cái trách nhiệm MXA này nó rất là quan trọng trong viêm da cơ.
So especially at the perivascular area, many fibers express MXA. So this is diagnostic of dermatomyositis. Yes. So in other conditions, MXA is never expressed in myofibers. So this is a definitive dermatomyositis, but without skin rash. And this sine dermatitis, dermatomyositis sine dermatitis is highly associated with anti-NXP2 antibodies. I think we checked already. So this is anti-NXP2 positive, antibody positive dermatomyositis.
MSA thì nó cũng thấy mắc thuốc ở cái miền periphyseal. Cái thông tin này. How about anti-synthetase would be positive with MSA?
No, never.
Những cái trường hợp khác thì MSA sẽ âm tính. Tất cả những trường hợp khác anti-synthetase cũng vậy. Mặc dù là sang thương da và biểu hiện bệnh cơ thì nó có thể giống như DM đó, nhưng mà với phương pháp dược này thì nó cũng âm tính.
So the anti-synthetase syndrome, which is myositis with anti-ARS antibodies like JO1 is positive. In rheumatology and also dermatology, they often make a diagnosis of dermatomyositis when skin rash is positive in anti-synthetase syndrome, right? For example, like 2/3 of JO1 positive cases show some kind of skin rash, including mechanic's hand or a shoal sign or something. Then dermatologists make a diagnosis of dermatomyositis. But MXA is never positive in such cases. So it means that anti-synthetase syndrome and dermatomyositis are different diseases. They have different mechanisms. So dermatomyositis is always MXA positive, anti-synthetase syndrome always negative. So this is not type 1 interferonopathy, but dermatomyositis is type 1 interferonopathy. So clinically, they may look similar, but they are different diseases. So this is very important, yes. So now we make a diagnosis of dermatomyositis based upon MXA. Yes. Okay, next.
Hội chứng kháng synthetase và viêm da cơ về mặt lâm sàng thì nó có thể rất là giống nhau. Những cái sang thương da mà heliotrope và shoal sign, hoster sign có thể là nó xuất hiện ở hội chứng kháng synthetase, cái kháng thể.
Well, that is also a tricky question. The typical pathological features of anti-synthetase syndrome is perivascular necrosis. Necrotic fibers, for some reason, necrotic fibers are often present at the periphery of the fascicles. If you have necrosis, of course, you also have regenerating fibers. And regenerating fibers are like a kid, right? It's on the way of growing up, so usually small in size. So it looks like, if you just care about the size, it looks like perivascular atrophy. So actually, some people say, once a Japanese rheumatologist said that, see, this is dermatomyositis, not something else. Yes, that's what he mentioned. But if you perform MXA, negative, always negative. Yes, so different diseases, whatever they may say, it's different.
Cái hội chứng kháng synthetase và DM thì mình vẫn làm cái MSA, nghĩa là kháng thể đặc hiệu cho viêm cơ. Những cái kháng thể cho hội chứng kháng synthetase là nổi tiếng nhất là Ichizo. Về nãy thầy Uma có hỏi thì cái hội chứng kháng synthetase này thì nó có khuynh hướng là hoại tử quanh bó hơn là teo cơ quanh bó. Do những cái sang thương nó giống nhau, gan da nó giống nhau cho nên là rất là dễ chẩn đoán lầm DM và anti-synthetase, nhưng mà về cơ chế sinh bệnh thì hai cái nhóm này nó hoàn toàn khác nhau.
Let's move on to the next case. Can you briefly introduce the clinical
Case number 3.
Case number 3.
Trường hợp thứ ba là một cái bệnh nhân được chẩn đoán lâm sàng là bệnh cơ ti thể, triệu chứng là yếu cơ. 6 tuổi thì 6 tuổi thì phải nắm cái thanh để leo lên cầu thang, và 12 tuổi thì có cái thể trạng rất là gầy, short stature và teo cơ toàn thể. 14 tuổi thì khám là phát hiện là liệt cơ vận nhãn tại bỏ ophthalmoplegia, không có tiền căn gia đình. Về khám lâm sàng thì có chậm phát triển về tâm thần nhẹ, không có yếu cơ vùng mặt, không có cái vòng hầu cao, có sụp mi, có liệt vận nhãn và nói khó, sức cơ gốc chi thì yếu, giảm phản xạ gân cơ và có dấu tiểu não. CPK là 171. CT cơ, CT scan thì thấy là đeo cơ toàn thể, generalized muscle atrophy. Dịch ống tủy thì ghi nhận là lactate 74.4 mg trên deciliter, Biopsy là 2.2 mg trên deciliter, nhưng mà không có giá trị bình thường cho cái lactate này.
Okay, so
Sorry, Professor. The CFF lactate is 74, but
Right.
the normal range is
normal range up to 20.
20.
Right.
Giá trị bình thường là 20.
It actually less than 20, like 15, up to 15. So it's very, very high. So I think for sure, I don't know what he was mentioning, but I believe that it sounds like mitochondrial disease, right? Lactate level is very high, and ptosis, right?
Ptosis.
Yeah, so CPEO, right? So on H&E, you can see fiber size variation, right? So sometimes small in size. So of course, fiber size variation is very subjective, but maybe I would say that mild to moderate, something like this. And there is no necrotic fibers, but there are maybe possible regenerating fibers. For example, this one has internalized nuclei, this one as well. So there may be some regenerating fibers, and some fibers are basophilic in color like this. Though they may be regenerating fibers, but I'm not 100% sure.
Về trên HNA thì chúng ta thấy cái cơ bản là một cái fiber size variation, có nghĩa là kích thước sợi cơ nó thay đổi rất là nhiều, nhưng mà cái quan sát này mang tính chủ quan, và một số cái đặc điểm gợi ý là có cái hiện tượng tái hoặc là sợi cơ regeneration, bao gồm có những cái sợi cơ đậm màu hoặc là có cái nhân ở trung tâm, nhưng mà không rõ lắm, không chắc chắn lắm.
So then what you see is rugged red fiber. This is rugged red fiber. This one rugged red fiber. This one, this one, this one, this one, this one, this. So many rugged red fibers. And if you have rugged red fibers, actually on H&E, they look a bit like regenerating fibers because they look basophilic in color. So that's why I said I'm not sure whether they are regenerating fibers. Maybe they are just rugged red fibers. So anyways, there are scattered rugged red fibers.
Đây là cái hình ảnh ragged red fiber, là những cái sợi đỏ nát. Có ngày dịch là sợi đỏ nát thì mình cũng xài, nhưng mà thường mình trao đổi được ragged red. Thì trên những cái sợi ragged red này trên HE đó, giờ nãy mình thấy nó đậm màu, cho nên là nó giống như là một cái regeneration, nhưng mà thầy không chắc lắm. Bây giờ qua cái với cái hiệu trichrome này thì mình thấy rõ đây là ragged red chứ không phải là regeneration fiber.
Sorry, sir. What muscle or biopsy they don't mention?
Maybe biceps brachii, right? The BB, right? It says BB. Oh, it doesn't say biopsy site. Oh, I didn't. Sorry, I forgot. Probably biceps brachii. So this is NADH. You can see rugged red fibers are darkly stained because NADH also reflect mitochondria, right? So the rugged red fibers are highlighted on NADH.
Trên NADH thì chúng ta cũng thấy cái hình ảnh của những cái sợi ragged red thì để màu nó sẽ đậm hơn.
Okay, but NADH is not specific to mitochondria.
Nhưng mà NADH thì nó không đặc hiệu cho bệnh cơ phi thể.
More specific one is SDH.
Cái đặc hiệu hơn là SDH.
Look at this one. So many rugged red fibers. And this is much more clear than modified Gomery trichrome. So SDH is much better to pick up rugged red fibers.
Những cái sợi này thì nó biểu hiện nó rất là rõ, mình vẫn gọi là ragged red, nhưng mà thực ra nó là màu xanh.
And some people call this rugged blue fiber because this is blue, but it doesn't. It's the same.
Cũng gọi là ragged blue,
Right.
là xanh nhạt.
But yeah, but and also important one is vessel. If this is Milas, we are supposed to see darkly stained blood vessel, but they look just faint. So this is not strong. There is no SSV. Strongly SDH reactive blood vessel is negative.
Với hội chứng Berat thì chúng ta có thể là sẽ thấy cái hiện tượng là cái mạch máu nó sẫm màu đối với cái nhựa này, nhưng mà cái đoạn này không thấy rõ.
And this is COX. You can, side chromatin oxidase. You can see COX negative fibers here and there. But okay.
Những cái sợi mà nó không có bắt hút này là gọi là COX negative.
Yeah, but it's very difficult to, check the COX activity in regulate fibers. So we do SDH COX double staining.
Cái nhuộm COX này đôi khi là nó quá nhạt màu hay là nó không bắt luôn thì mình không phân biệt được. Thành ra là mình nhuộm hai cái nhuộm cùng lúc là COX và SDH. Thì cái sợi đầu nó âm với COX thì nó dương với SDH thì nó sẽ ra một cái hình ảnh tương phản.
So normally, COX is brown, SDH is blue. So if you have blue and brown, it will be darky brown, right? But look at those regulatory fibers. You can see only blue color. It means that COX activity is lost in those fibers.
Thì chúng ta thấy là cái tương phản giữa màu xanh và màu nâu đó, thì trên những sợi xanh thì có những cái sợi là nó rất là đậm, thì nó thể hiện là mất hoàn toàn cái hoạt chất đó, cái hoạt động của COX trên cái hiệu.
So this is typical CPEO, right? So there are many regulatory fibers, all COX negative, and no SSV. Yeah, okay.
Mình có hỏi là cái cơ nào để mà sinh thiết đó, thì ông không có ghi cho mình cái cơ nào để sinh thiết, nhưng mà ông nói có thể là deltoid. Professor, if I have a case of CBO, how sensitive the muscle biopsy to find mitochondrial disorders? Because if the patient don't have muscle weakness of the deltoids or biceps, something like this.
So I will ask you the same question. How can you be sure your patient has the mitochondrial disease? Right? So you have to know the way to make a definitive diagnosis of mitochondrial disease. Then you can discuss about how sensitive muscle biopsy is, right? But how can you be sure your patient has mitochondrial disease? I don't think you can say anything. I think still the muscle biopsy is the most sensitive, and especially for CPO, because with blood, if it's going to be often false negative. Yes, so I think still the muscle is the most sensitive. But still, of course, you are right. You may miss the diagnosis if you don't, if the mutant mitochondrial DNA is not really increased in some part of muscle. But still, I think the muscle is the most sensitive organ, practically speaking.
Cái câu hỏi là nếu mà bệnh nhân chỉ có liệt cận nhãn không thôi mà không yếu cơ thì liệu chúng ta có nên sinh thiết cơ để chẩn đoán hay không? Thì cái câu kết của thầy là sinh thiết cơ là phương pháp nhạy nhất để chẩn đoán bệnh cơ ti thể. Nhưng mà vấn đề là làm sao tôi biết bác sĩ là bị chẩn đoán được cái liệt cận nhãn này là bệnh cơ ti thể hay là không, để mà sinh thiết cơ mới là cái câu hỏi quan trọng. Còn nếu như có cái liệt cận nhãn này là bệnh cơ ti thể thì sinh thiết cơ là phương pháp nhạy nhất để phát hiện cái chuyện đó.
Yeah, so for the diagnosis of mitochondrial disease, basically you have to examine mitochondrial DNA in the affected organ. This is the principle, affected organ. So if liver is affected, I think you should check liver, but of course I'm not sure if you can do liver biopsy or not, but theoretically you should check the affected organ. If muscle is affected, you should check muscle. If brain is affected, you should check brain tissue, but of course, maybe practically it's impossible, but that is the basic idea. So if you say muscle is not affected, maybe negative, right? Yeah, but the blood, when it comes to CPO, blood is often false negative. So blood is not the ideal organ to check, at least for CPO. Genetic mitochondrial DNA testing.
Về lý thuyết thì chúng ta sẽ chọn sinh thiết cái cơ quan nào nó bị tổn thương trong bệnh ti thể, thì chúng ta biết là tổn thương rất là nhiều cơ quan, như là gan, như là não, cho nên là nếu mà muốn phát hiện bệnh thì phải nhắm cái cơ quan bị bệnh. Nếu mà não bị bệnh thì sinh thiết não, gan bị bệnh thì sinh thiết gan, nhưng mà hai cơ quan đó không chắc là mình có làm sinh thiết được, cho nên sinh thiết cơ Việt Nam là hợp lý.
Yeah, for the definitive diagnosis, you need mitochondrial DNA analysis. Yes, for that, you need affected organ. So muscle is very useful because you can analyze histological, morphological changes, and you can do genetic testing, right? Then for the blood, actually can be misleading, yes.
Khi mà làm xét nghiệm máu ở đây thì nói là xét nghiệm gen đó là thì cái khả năng nó âm tính cũng cao, tại vì mình chỉ xét nghiệm được cái gen trong nhân, còn cái gen của ti thể thì mình chưa có xét nghiệm được, cho nên là mình có thể là mình miss khoảng 40-50% gì đó. Và cái sinh thiết này còn chẩn đoán được cái bề mặt cái cơ chế gây bệnh là như sáng thì nói là cái phức hợp hay nào complex nào thì ảnh hưởng.
Okay, so you want to continue or stop it here? Up to you.
One more case.
One more case, okay.
Professor Uman, do you do muscle biopsy for CBO? Yes, you do.
Okay, can you introduce the case number 4?
Trường hợp thứ tư.
I can just ask one question. Just now, can you remind us, you said that the threshold effect,
Mm-hmm.
so this would be a mitochondrial problem, right?
Right.
Not be a DNA.
Not chromosomal, yes.
That sense is quite useful.
Yeah, but yes, you are right. So if you see focal COX deficiency, it means that selective muscles have COX deficiency. This is called focal COX deficiency. If you see this, you can tell that in this particular fiber, there is mitochondrial DNA, probably abnormality. But you have to be a little bit careful about it because COX negative fibers can be seen in elderly patients as well, right? But because of aging process. Even in those patients, actually, even in elderly people, COX negative fibers means they have mitochondrial DNA abnormality because of aging process, right? So showing the COX negative fibers, pointing out COX negative fibers, yes, you can say that mitochondrial DNA is abnormal in this fiber, in this particular fiber, but this may not, explain everything, all the clinical features. So you have to be a little bit careful about it. Okay, next case.
Trường hợp thứ tư là một bệnh nhân 15 tuổi, nữ giới, female, 50 years old female.
Maybe male.
Male.
Maybe wrong. Yeah. Yeah, maybe. Sorry, male. Yeah, male.
Lý do mà để đi chẩn đoán là incidental hypercemia, nghĩa là CVK máu tăng bất thường tình cờ thôi. CK đo được là 20.000. Khi mà làm xét nghiệm máu thì tiền căn gia đình có người con thì cũng mắc bệnh cơ. Về thăm khám lâm sàng thì trí tuệ thì bình thường, không có yếu cơ mặt, không có cardiac balance muscles, sức cơ thì gần như là bình thường, dấu oocyte thì dương tính, phì đại bắp chân, các phản xạ lên cơ thì bình thường, cái CVK làm lại là 19.872, MRI thì ghi nhận là tăng tín hiệu sphere ở trên cái cơ mông lớn và làm cái gen DMD mà phương pháp MLBA thì không phát hiện mất đoạn hay lặp đoạn. Xét nghiệm toàn bộ gen thì không phát hiện đột biến mutation.
So Duchenne muscular dystrophy is suspected. So we see necrotic fibers there, right? I didn't actually clearly mention in my lecture, but there are even three necrotic fibers in cluster, right? They look very similar. It means that they were necrotized at the same time, right? Probably yesterday, right? One day before muscle biopsy, okay? So those three fibers were necrotized at the same time, okay? And you can tell me.
Mình thấy được ba cái sợi cơ hoại tử và cái độ tuổi của hoại tử thì nó tương đương nhau, thì có thể là xuất hiện cùng lúc.
Okay, here, this is early regenerating fiber, this one, and this one. They also look very similar. Maybe, let's say, 3 days ago, there was necrotic events, right?
Ba sợi cơ này thì nó biểu hiện tái mọc sợi cơ sớm và có độ tuổi nó cũng tương đương nhau.
Yeah. So necrotic events were repeated again and again. In addition, not just one fiber, several fibers were necrotized at the same time. This is very important when you think about the mechanism of the disease, because Duchenne muscular dystrophy is caused by membrane fragility because they don't have dystrophin. So membrane is fragile, right? You can explain it?
Cái hiện tượng hoại tử này ở những như bệnh cơ Duchenne đó là do cái màng tế bào cơ nó mong manh fragile, thì nó rất là dễ bị phá hủy, cho nên cái hiện tượng hủy sợi cơ nó tiếp tục nó xuất hiện diễn ra liên tục.
So just having fragile, muscle fiber membrane, you don't have necrosis. When muscle contracts, okay, muscle fiber membrane will have mechanical stress, okay? So mechanical stress is not even. Sometimes you have more stress in some part, and sometimes not so much, right? So if you have more stress in some part, this will be necrotized. In this area, of course, 2 or 3 fibers will be necrotized at the same time. So this actually pattern of cluster of necrotic and regenerative fibers reflect the mechanism of necrosis.
Cái hiện tượng hoại tử này thì không phải là nó tự nhiên nó xuất hiện, mà những cái màng sợi cơ này nó dễ vỡ khi mà bệnh nhân có một cái stress nào đó, hoặc là cái vận động mạnh nào đó, sợi cơ bị căng giãn ra thì nó sẽ bị hoại tử. Do đó là những cái sợi cơ mà gần nhau thì nó có thể nó chịu cùng một loại tác động, cho nên là nó bị hoại tử cùng nhau, cho nên nó cũng phản ánh phần nào cái cơ chế nó biến hoại sợi cơ.
But because of light, it's not so clear, but actually there you can see something a little bit pink. They are fibrous tissue. So it means there is endomygeal fibrosis. So this is a chronic condition with necrotic events again and again. So this is really muscular dystrophy, right?
Is this what you call
Group necrosis, yeah.
Hồi nãy thì mình thấy giữa những cái sợi cơ thì có một mẫu mô màu hồng á, thì đó là cái xơ hóa nội sợi cơ, endomygeal fibrosis. Nó gợi ý cho một cái bệnh cơ loạn dưỡng rất là mạng tính.
So this is modified Gomori trichrome. You can see, actually, endomygeal fibrosis is more clear. You can see something green in between, right? Yeah, so I think the endomygeal fibrosis is more clean, more obvious.
Rõ ràng với trichrome chúng ta thấy là cái phần mô nó chỉ có màu xanh rồi, chứ nó không phải là tình cờ mà nó hồng hồng như đó.
Okay, so then I want to discuss immunohistochemistry. So this is, muscular dystrophy.
Chỉ có hiệu hóa mô miễn dịch.
Okay. Okay. Yes. So this is dystrophin, okay? I will magnify it.
Cái này là hiệu hóa mô miễn dịch với dystrophin.
So in this area, you can see myofibers here, all negative, but some fibers are positive, right? This is very tricky. First of all, why he received muscle biopsy? Nowadays, we do genetic testing first, right? We did. And there were no deletions. 2/3 of the patients have deletions or duplications. No. And we even did sequencing. Okay? So no point mutation. So that's why we did muscle biopsy. But dystrophin is almost negative, but some fibers are positive. This is a little bit tricky. Then how should we call this? Duchenne muscular dystrophy or Becker muscular dystrophy, right? In Duchenne, we are not supposed to see any fiber with positive dystrophin, right? But in some fibers, positive. Actually, this case, we actually did an extensive study doing RNA sequencing and long read whole genome sequencing. We did everything, and we found very complex deep intronic mutation. And with this mutation, most of the transcripts will be terminated, so it's like a non-stop codon mutation. But only few transcripts will be transcribed and express dystrophin. So this is reflecting very complex, the intronic mutations. That's why you see some fibers with positive dystrophin. Yes. So nowadays, so Duchenne muscular dystrophy, 99% of cases you don't need muscle biopsy. Only 1%. Only 1% of cases have deep intronic mutation. For this, you can detect mutation by usual genetic analysis. That's why you need muscle biopsy, and we did, and we found deep intronic mutations. But before that, you have to confirm the diagnosis by immunohistochemistry like this. Okay, so this is a Duchenne muscular dystrophy. Yeah.
Can you remind us what is revertant fibers?
Sorry? Revertant, yes. This is also, you can call it revertant fibers, but the mechanism is a little bit different. Yes, usually, even in typical Duchenne muscular dystrophy, we may see 1 or 2 positive fibers. You may wonder why. Actually, this is believed to be due to, for example, you have certain exon deletions, right? Sometimes when muscle cells divide, you will get new mutation. This new mutation luckily affects the next exon. And next exon will also be skipped. Then it will be in frame. Yes, this is like a natural exon skipping therapy. This fiber is called revertant fiber. But this one is a little bit different because deep intronic mutation is not 100%. Splicing, aberrant splicing efficiency is not 100%, like 99.9%. So 0.1% is transcribed. Yes, and like this, yes. So it's a little bit different, but still you can call it revertant fiber.
Again, sorry to ask you this, because I cannot remember, but how do we know this is not a secondary dystrophin pathology? That means it's
What do you mean by secondary dystrophy?
because you have done all the other things.
Yeah, right. Of course, we did everything. Yes, right.
Thông thường thì chúng ta sẽ không có sinh thiết cơ để chẩn đoán bệnh Duchenne nữa, tại vì cái 99% các trường hợp là chẩn đoán bằng xét nghiệm gen là được rồi. Đây là một phần trăm trường hợp mà chúng ta cần sinh thiết. Thì trên cái tiêu bản sinh thiết này thì chúng ta là thấy là hầu hết tất cả các sợi cơ đều âm tính với nhiều dystrophin, chỉ còn một vài sợi cơ neo nét ở đó là có bắt thuốc với cái nhiều dystrophin, có nghĩa là những cái sợi cơ này nó vẫn còn cái dystrophin ở đó. Lý do tại sao cái gan này thì nó xét nghiệm gen âm tính là tại vì khi mình làm khảo sát lại thì coi lại cái gen thì nó có đột biến cái vùng intron chứ không phải là vùng exons. You mean that they have an intron mutation, not exon mutation? That's why.
Deep intronic. Intron mutation, deep intron. So intron is very big. Usually, if you do exonic sequence, you also sequence maybe 10, 15 bases of intronic region, border region. But if it is like a really in the middle of the intron. I don't think you can sequence it. You have to really do whole exome sequencing, otherwise you can detect it.
Cái vùng in trong là cái vùng không có biểu hiện của kiểu hình thừa, cho nên là những cái đột biến này nó có thể là frame shift, thành ra là những cái exon tiếp theo này nó sẽ bị mất cái biểu hiện của dystrophin protein. Trên cái ca này thì ông chẩn đoán là Duchenne chứ không phải là Becker. It's Duchenne, not Becker.
Well, this is a tricky question, but we still call it Duchenne. But Duchenne and Becker are actually clinical, the clinically defined, the condition. So if he can walk, if he lose ambulation before age 15 or 16, then it should be Duchenne. But I think this is Duchenne still. Yeah.
But he can walk at 15 years old, and the CK is incidental.
But theoretically, she should have a little bit milder phenotype because some fibers express dystrophin. Yes.
Thường chẩn đoán cái Duchenne hay Becker là thường là bằng cái biểu hiện lâm sàng. Chứ còn bệnh học thì đôi khi nó cũng không có phản ánh được cái mức độ yếu, tại vì mình sinh thiết là mình sinh thiết được cái buộc nào đó hữu cơ thôi. Đôi khi cơ nó bệnh bị ảnh hưởng nặng, nhưng mà về lâm sàng thì cái hữu cơ là khác, bệnh đầu có sinh thiết. Cho nên là chẩn đoán Duchenne hay Becker hiện tại là vẫn là lâm sàng.
Okay. That's all for today. Thank you.
Do you have any explanation why Duchenne muscular dystrophy they have calf hypertrophy? This is true hypertrophy or pseudo hypertrophy. And with calf hypertrophy, what a different diagnosis we have, just Duchenne.
So calf muscle hypertrophy, so if you have necrotic and regenerative process, sometimes, regeneration will exceed, to necrosis. Then you have hypertrophy. This is believed to be the cause of hypertrophy. So at least in the early stages, calf muscle hypertrophy is true hypertrophy rather than pseudo hypertrophy. So in fact, if you do muscle MRI or CT, you don't see actually fat infiltration in calf muscle. So this is true hypertrophy. But in the advanced stage, of course, you will see fat infiltration, and this is going to be pseudo hypertrophy. But true and pseudo is not so important, so we just say calf hypertrophy nowadays. And of course, this is typically seen in Duchenne muscular dystrophy and carrier and also Becker muscular dystrophy, but can be seen in a wide variety of conditions, which is associated with membrane fragility, just like Duchenne muscular dystrophy. So, for example, sarcoglycan deficiency also causes very similar phenotype to Duchenne or Becker muscular dystrophy, because sarcoglycanopathy was originally reported as SCARM. SCARM means severe autosomal recessive, SCAR, severe childhood autosomal recessive, AR, MD is muscular dystrophy. Severe childhood autosomal recessive muscular dystrophy. So severe childhood muscular dystrophy means Duchenne muscular dystrophy. But Duchenne is X-linked, right? But sarcoglycanopathy is autosomal recessive. That's why they say that, okay, it really looks like Duchenne muscular dystrophy, but inheritance is not X-linked, but autosomal recessive. This was the original description of sarcoglycanopathy. So the clinical is very, very similar. And muscle pathology is very, very similar, okay? So of course, you see calf muscle hypertrophy. And this is also the case for all range of alpha-dystroglycan deficiency or alpha-dystroglycanopathy, including FKRP mutation, those with FKRP mutations, or those with FUKT mutation, POMGNT1, there are more than 18 different causative genes nowadays. But anyway, they all show very similar phenotype with calf muscle hypertrophy. But this is also because of membrane fragility. So all similar. So, and the mechanism is actually very similar.
Mọi người còn câu hỏi gì nữa không? Thì cứ kêu mình kết thúc thì any question before we go today's workshop? Câu hỏi gì về triển khai sinh thiết cơ?
Cái lát của nó mình sẽ làm ngay, nếu mà nó khó quá nó sẽ không được ngay thể.
Yeah, this is also very good. No artifact at all. Yeah, of course, this one, a little bit artifact, but otherwise very good. This is artifact from the blade. You can see the line, right? This one. This is from the blade. When you cut like this, that's why you can. This is okay, but other parts are very good. I think the quality is very nice. Yeah, this is perfectly acceptable. Yes. Yeah, this is very good. Okay, NADH. Yep. It is patient muscle, right? Not beef.
Yes.
This,
Human being.
this is patient muscle, right?
Yeah.
A little bit the staining part. You can see dot, right? And also, can you see a little bit of network? But it's very difficult to see. I'm not sure if this is because of the disease or staining condition. We see more network on NADH. But this one, dot, like I think they are mitochondria. Yeah, we can also see a little bit of network, so it should be okay. Right? Okay, then? Yes. Yeah, PS, fine. Yep. You can see better network here, okay. And you can see some atrophic fibers. All right? Oh, this is MXA, okay, for dermatomyositis. Okay, so only the perimysium are stained, so this is negative.
Give it a little bit too bright. Too light. So bright.
Ah, okay.
Cái này là nhuộm hóa môn MXA. Mình thường nhuộm thường là nó sẽ dương trong viêm da cơ.
MXA is a marker of type 1 interferon. And now many people believe that dermatomyositis is type 1 interferonopathy. And when we have dermatomyositis cases, myofibers express MXA. But in this case, you can see perimedial connective tissue are stained, but not in the mast fibers. So this is not dermatomyositis. Yep. Okay. ABC.
Basically, ABC always dark.
Yeah, this is too dark.
Yeah.
So I think you need control. This is control?
No.
No.
It's all patient.
Right. I think you.
Sometimes it's dark with sarcoplasmic or necrotic fiber.
But that is, well, non-specific finding. I think you should dilute the antibody more. I don't know how, I don't know the concentration in this laboratory. I think you need to change it. This is too dark. Or you can, so I think you always need a control actually. So the control muscle, you can compare with control muscle. And of course, probably this is positive, but how strong it is, you know, it depends on the laboratory. So you need to establish your own, the staining method. So I can't tell whether this is very strong or just okay or even negative. I can't tell because without control, yes. So typically, IBM shows the highest MHC class 1 expression. And IMNM, immune-mediated necrotizing myopathy, very, very weak. So even if you say positive, the degree of positivity is very different. So I think you need like IBM, I'm not sure how many IBM patients you have, but IBM and also negative control, and you should compare. Yeah. Okay. Do you have MHC class 2 or DR, HLDR? Yes, okay, DR. Yeah, DR is all negative.
Nghe có gì không hiểu anh chị hỏi nha. Chị sĩ cái gì vậy? Tại vì thầy nói hơi nhỏ đằng sau đây.
Yeah, DR is negative.
Cái phép nhựa hồi nãy là MSc class 1 thì mà khi mà mình thực hành đó mình thấy là nó rất là dễ dương tính. Dương tính nhiều khi chẳng có lý do gì dương tính rất là đậm thì thầy gợi ý là mình có thể mình pha loãng với cái bộ kháng thể này ra và mình phải có một cái giống trứng. Giống trứng ở đây nghĩa là cái mẫu trứng có nghĩa là người bình thường á. Bạn biết lấy đâu ra cơ người bình thường á. Tại vì mình sinh thiết toàn là người bệnh không có sinh thiết người bình thường. Nên là cô biết lấy đâu ra.
So
đây
again, I'm not sure about the standard of your laboratory, but this may be positive in some fibers like this. It's difficult to control. This one may be a little bit stained, right? And also this one, this one, very difficult to control. Yeah, this one. It's a little bit stained. They may be positive, but I'm not 100% sure because I don't have any control samples. So HLA-DR or MHC class 2 is more specific to myositis condition. So 100% of IBM cases show HLA-DR positive fibers. Around 2/3 of anti-synthesis cases show positive DR fibers. And dermal myositis maybe 10%, IMNM even lower, something like that. So I think HLDR may be helpful for the diagnosis of subtype of myositis. I think some fibers are positive like this. Yeah, I think probably they are positive. So this may be anti-synthesis syndrome or something. I'm not sure. Okay.
MAC.
MHC. Okay. MHCN. Neonatal form or MHC what? I don't know what this is. What is this? MHCN or MHC? Right? MAC. Okay, sorry. MAC, membrane attack complex. So complement C5b9. So some of them you can see the membrane is highlighted. Maybe MAC is deposited onto that type of fibers, but I can already tell the diagnosis from this one. So this is a kid, I don't know how old, but the fiber size is smaller than adults. So this is from children. And on H&E, fiber size variation is mild, just mild, not so different, right? So it looks almost normal, right? It looks almost normal. But modified Gomery trichrome, you will have the diagnosis. This is Gomery. I will magnify. So in the muscle fibers, you see a lot of something, right? They are all nemaline bodies. So this is nemaline myopathy. NADH. A little bit disorganized. I think.
Case number 1.
Yeah, case number 1. Yeah, this is better. So the myofibers is disorganized, right? Disorganized because, some part, a little bit activity is lost, right? Partially lost, like this. In this area, nemaline bodies are clustered. That's why, NADH activity is lost. And I will show you ATPase. This is 10.6 alkaline ATPase. I don't think you can see anything. Myosin ATPase.
Phân biệt là kênh tiếp 1, tiếp 2 này. Thì hiện tại thì mình cũng chưa có cái tín hiệu này. We currently don't have ATPase.
That's a pity. Sorry.
Mọi người đằng sau có nghe được không ạ? Nó nhỏ quá không ạ? Cái gì không rõ mọi người hỏi nha. Mới nói bởi vì là bắt đầu đây cái nhóm nhỏ cho nên là xét ở đây đang cố gắng chuyển qua bên kia.
See, can you see this? Almost all fibers are white, right? Only some fibers are type 2, actually. Only some fibers. But actually, almost all of them are type 2C, immature fibers. And actually, except for some type 2C fibers, all fibers are type 1. So, so I told you in congenital myopathy, we often see type 1 fiber predominance. This is an extreme type 1 fiber predominance. Everything is type 1. Yes.
Nếu mà nó chỉ còn đây là tiếp 1 không thì rất là dễ nhóm bệnh congenital myopathy.
Yeah, so again, this is the diagnostic finding. Yeah, you see a lot of nemaline bodies, right? Yeah.
Sáng nay mình có nghe nói là cái phép nhượng Gomery trichrome thì mình sẽ thấy được cái nemaline body, đó là cái đồng thời cái nemaline body đó cũng đồng thời là cái phân loại bệnh cơ này luôn. Thì đó những cái chấm màu đen ở trên cái sợi cơ.
Okay.
Without muscle biopsy, clinically we just have the diagnosis of congenital myopathy.
Yeah, because you can't tell whether that is nemaline or CFTD or it can be even centronuclear. I don't think you can tell. All you can tell is most likely congenital myopathy. Yeah, but I don't think you can tell.
Basically, in Japan, the pediatric they send to do muscle biopsy or they send the sample to your center. They send the baby to your center.
It depends. But usually they send muscle to us. But if the patient, if they are living in Tokyo area, probably the physician send patients to our pediatric department. But otherwise, they send muscle. Yeah. So again, actually, I was telling them that, we have this type of muscle, what we call it muscle pathology seminar. Like every summer we, host this type of, training course 2 times. In the last more than 20 years, we have had, this type of meeting. So, and nearly more than 800 neurologists and pediatricians were trained by this one. So they know how to fix the muscle, how to do muscle biopsy, and they were spread all over Japan, and they do clinical, analysis. So then they send us muscle. Yes.
Nếu mà bệnh nhân ở vòng khu vực Tokyo đó thì bệnh nhân sẽ được gửi tới cái trung tâm của ông thầy để thực hiện phẫu thuật sinh thiết cơ. Tuy nhiên nếu mà bệnh nhân ở ngoài Tokyo thì
gửi bệnh phẩm,
thì gửi cái mẫu cơ đó thôi. Thì ông thầy đã tổ chức nhiều cái lớp tập huấn về bệnh cơ cho các cái bác sĩ thần kinh nhi rồi. Thì họ có thể không có đọc cũng được, nhưng mà họ có thể fix, có thể cố định mẫu và gửi cái mẫu đó tới. Thì cái tinh thần đó mỗi năm nó về nó vẫn làm và nó được lan truyền khắp Nhật Bản, cho nên là những cái mẫu bệnh phẩm được gửi tới trung tâm sau khi nó được fix rồi, chứ không nhất thiết là phải gửi bệnh nhân tới.
So in Japan, for board certification of neurology, for neurology board, you are supposed to be able to do muscle biopsy, fix the sample, and read basic muscle pathology. This is the condition of board certification, you can tell them.
Một cái chứng chỉ của một cái bác sĩ thần kinh Nhật Bản là họ có thể họ phải làm sinh thiết cơ, cố định lại và đọc những cái cơ bản về bệnh học cơ.
Yeah. So I'm the committee member for the board certification. So I make the test. So I always ask them, and some of the questions are about how to fix muscle, how to do muscle biopsy, something like this.
You can pass the test. I can.
And also there is an interview as well. So at the interview, I will ask how to fix the muscle, something like this. Yeah. So they have to study at least. Maybe they don't see muscle disease for all of their lives, but at least they study, muscle disease for at least. You can tell them.
Có làm bệnh cơ, mà họ có thể là học bác sĩ thần kinh đó, có thể là sau này không làm bệnh cơ hoặc là bệnh thần kinh cơ nữa, nhưng mà ít nhất là họ cũng có kiến thức cơ bản về cái này để chỉ định cho đúng, làm cho đúng.
Okay, so this is case 1. I don't remember the history, but this is a kid suspected to have congenital myopathy. Next case. You can briefly talk about the history. Case 2.
Bệnh nhân thứ hai này là một bệnh nhân nam 67 tuổi. Cái chẩn đoán ban đầu là polymyositis. Triệu chứng lâm sàng là yếu cơ và đau cơ. BTA. What's BTA profession?
Prior to admission.
13 tháng trước thì đau vùng hông, chân khi đi. 10 tháng trước nhập viện thì đau vùng bắp tay, 6 tháng trước nhập viện thì nuốt khó, 5 tháng trước nhập viện thì yếu hai chân, phải ngồi xe lăn, mất khoảng 20 kg trong vòng 1 năm, tiền ăn gia đình là không có, sang thương gia không có, trí tuệ bình thường, không yếu cơ mặt, nuốt khó, yếu cơ gốc chi, CK là 118 và điện cơ là myopathic.
Okay, so this is polymyositis. Of course, we never make a diagnosis of polymyositis, as I discussed, but the clinicians still say polymyositis. Okay, it means that there is no skin rash, but myositis, right? Okay, look at this one.
Thầy nói là sau này không còn chẩn đoán một ca là VA nữa, cho nên về mặt thuật ngữ.
So what kind of abnormality do you see? Here. Right? You can see atrophic fibers, right? At the periphery of fascicles. So this is perivascular atrophy. So perivascular atrophy is already diagnostic of dermatomyositis, but without skin rash. then rheumatologists are not so happy. Because their definition of dermatomyositis, clinical definition of dermatomyositis, is the myositis with skin rash. That's their diagnosis, I mean the definition.
Trên cái tiêu bản này mình
Right.
thấy thì cái hiện tượng là teo
But
với cơ
sometimes
có.
we have typical pathological change with dermatomyositis, but without skin rash. This condition is called dermatomyositis sine dermatitis. Sine means without. Okay.
Dạ. Cái tiêu bản này mình thấy là cái hiện tượng teo cơ quanh bó là những cái cơ ở xung quanh cái phía ngoài bó thì nó bị teo, trong khi những cái lớp phía bên trong thì cái sợi cơ nó bình thường. Cái hiện tượng này thì nó đặc hiệu cho viêm da cơ. Thì với cái biểu hiện đó thì mình chẩn đoán ngay là viêm da cơ. Tuy nhiên bệnh nhân này của mình thì không có sang thương da, thì đó là một cái chẩn đoán là viêm da cơ với không có sang thương da, Sinh Dermatitis.
Okay. Now.
We have a larger room with
Okay.
the
Or okay.
microscope.